Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, the show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and today we're going to be talking about Super Mario 64. If you've seen the title of this video, you're going to be like, okay, we're hating on that again. So, part of this video is basically, or part of this, the reason why I'm talking about this is that I had a thought process recently of being like, hey, I don't know if I actually like the 3D Mario games as much as I think I do. So let's replay all of them. So starting with Mario 64, I'm going to do Sunshine, Galaxy, Galaxy 2, probably 3D World, and also Odyssey. Because Odyssey to me was like, this game I genuinely love. I think is a phenomenal game, and it's like what 3D Mario should be like. But I was like, do I really like Galaxy and Galaxy 2 as much as I think I do? And was I too harsh on 64 and Sunshine back in the day, and maybe I should replay those games? So me and Mark played through Super Mario 64, and I'm at that point now where I never want to touch this game again. Never want to touch this game again. And the reason for that is because this game to me has aged very badly. And you'll see that if you look back at the very beginnings of this channel, there is a video that's specifically called I Don't Like Mario 64, and that's okay. And you can hear the police probably behind me coming after me for saying that. But before we get into my reasons why and like try and break this down, I want to say like I understand the importance of Mario 64 and what it did for early 3D gaming and platforming and all this sort of stuff. Like, I get that. I'm coming at this from this is 2025, and people defend this game, and I'm not trying to take away from other people's fun, right? Like, if you like this game, you like this game. It's as simple as that. I actually prefer the DS version because that's the one I properly played through first, and then we recently played through the Mario All Stars version, the one that's got quite the crisp resolution and things on it like that. So my issue with this game is that I don't think, if you take a step back from it and look at like what we have now and why this game is aged badly, you only have to look at one. Well, there's two things that are the major things, and then there's three things I do want to talk about. One is the level design, and the other is the camera. Now, obviously, again, a lot of this stuff has been sorted out. Like, it might seem a bit harsh me dogpiling on this game now. This game is from back in like 1999 or whenever it came out, and you know, things have changed, things have gotten better. But it's very hard for me to enjoy this game playing it now. Again, basically, and still really not seeing what people like about this game. So, if we talk about the level design, each level is its own giant square, basically, and inside that square is some level. So, with like Bob-omb Battlefield, which is the first one you'll tend to jump into, there's no like, you can't jump off the edge. It's like a flat square. There's stuff to do. You've got the mountain. You've got the other area of the Bob-ombs. You've got various bits and bobs going on, right? And then, to be fair, the game actually starts off fairly well. On a couple of levels, I quite like Bob-omb Battlefield. I quite like Womp's Fortress and Jolly Roger Bay, and a lot of the entrance hall levels I actually don't think are too bad. So when you get to the basement, you start to encounter a lot of problematic levels. And what I mean by this is, let's take Shifting Sands Land, because I think this is the first example of a level that really makes me scratch my head and how this is designed. If you were to take a top-down view of this level, where you start, you have like a big sand dune, like normal sand dune. You run to the right, there's a random, I don't know what it is, like platform thing, and then south from that you have the blocks going over, the blocks that are flipping. To the left you've got the thing in the middle, like the pyramid in the middle with the platforms, and then you've got weird sinking sand in different areas, and then the other side is just like normal sand again. This level is like, literally feels like it's just been slapped together with different parts. Same can be said about Lethal Lava Land. I actually don't mind that level, but if you like zoom out at the top, you've got a volcano in the middle and then just random platforms. None of it like lines up. Now again, yes, time when the hardware came out and all that. But then you have levels like Rainbow Ride, Snowman's Land, Wet Dry World, Hazy Maze Cave. Other examples of just really poorly designed levels. On the flip side, like, a lot of people might disagree, I think TikTok Clock is actually quite a well-made level. It's very difficult, but it's a very well-made level. Tiny Big Island isn't too bad. There are certain, I like Tall Mountain isn't too bad in some aspects. A lot of these levels have problems, but these specific ones that I've mentioned feel very slapdash, and I get it, like, yes, they're learning and all that, but going back and playing these levels, you're just like, these don't feel coherent. They feel very put together. Like, oh, we'll grab a doodad from here, we'll grab that from there. If you want a perfect example of this, we'll go back to Shifting Sands Land. Look at how the pillars work. The pillars in that level don't work like anything else in the game. You jump onto it, you suddenly can run up the side, over the top, and run down. It's like it's got its own gravity. However, if you wing cap into it, you hit it and you bounce and you fall straight down into the sand. It's like a lot of things don't make sense in this game, and it adds to a lot of frustration. A lot of these levels that I've mentioned, so again, Shifting Sands Land, Lethal Lava Land, Rainbow Ride, Snowman's Land, Wet Dry World, Hazy Maze Cave, they're not fun levels to play on. Like, they are genuinely so weirdly put together. Like, there's other levels, like the Boo level in this, that isn't that bad. It's a bit of an odd level, but like, there's a little bit like coherency to it. Hazy Maze Cave is just boring, and it's just full of holes, and there's like different areas of it. Wet Dry World has got the issue of raising and lowering the water, which is just so time consuming. It's not a level I want to spend much time in. Snowman's Land is very much like Shifting Sands Land and Lethal Lava Land, where the level just feels chucked together. There's no rhyme or reason to what's on it. And Rainbow Road, to me, is just not very well put together at all. I find that the combination of the way the level's made, it feels literally like we'll just put some blocks here, we'll put a thing here, like a castle up. It's just all over the place. And this is the main reason for me personally being like, hey, you know what? I don't really like how the levels are designed in this game. Even Sunshine, which is a game that gets crapped on a lot, like for good reason in some of it, has more coherent level design. I just think here, like, those starting worlds, like Womp's Fortress feels fun to run around in. Bob on Battlefield feels fun to run around in. Jolly Roger Bay is a bit of a slog because the water swimming in this game is. But those first few levels, even Cool Mountain, which definitely has some issues, is still at least more fun to play than, say, Snowman's Land. I think it's made better. It feels like the level kind of works more naturally together rather than just like, here's a random hill, here's a bit here, bit here. There's a lot of things with the way the levels are designed, and even just as something smaller, there are so many ramps in places in this game that cause Mario to slide that don't need to be ramps. Like, there's like an unnecessary difficulty with a lot of these levels. If you want the perfect example, Snowman's Land, you have to climb up and avoid getting blown off by the snowman. So you run along to some ice. You've got these weird triangles that are sliding out, and you have to jump over those, and then you pull yourself up. And then for some reason, like, the next sort of platform is a slidey platform, and if you don't get on it correctly, you slide back off. And it's like, why? Why isn't this just flat? And then you have to climb up this weird, like, platform up the side that's really, like, narrow, unnecessarily narrow, and then get onto, like, this ice, which is now you're adding ice physics in to get in front of this penguin or behind this penguin to not get blown off. And it just, the whole thing is just bizarre. Like, I'm like, there's some weird choices being made here. That's just the one that stands out to me. That's one that I found quite frustrating. But I genuinely think that the level design is super weak. Now, Super Mario Odyssey, which is more of a direct sequel to this than Galaxy and stuff, because Galaxy is like, you go into a level, you do like a challenge in one half of the planet, then you go to the other half of the planet. Whereas like Sunshine and Odyssey, you go to that one level and you go in it multiple times. What the reason why those things, I feel like Odyssey is such, and I know comparing a game that came out not that long ago to something that came back in like late 90s, early 2000s, it's just, the level design feels a lot more natural. There's a lot less of that just slapdashery to it. And again, people get better, I get that, but we're judging this game based on the fact that I'm playing it now. Like, the controls of this game, Mario feels pretty good to play, but the levels themselves feel weirdly just like, you know, like I said, slapped together. It's like a kid making something out of Lego. They've just grabbed the bits they can, slapped it together to make something. It doesn't feel like a lot of the levels in this are made by essentially level designers. You know, not to say like that myself or other people are going to do a better job, but it definitely feels like these levels are very much just like, just grab that, slap it together. That seems like good enough. And that causes a lot of issues, and I think this is a game that desperately needs a remake, but I'll come on to that later. The other thing that this game really loses points over is the camera. There's no defending the camera in this game. Again, I get it. You have options, which is cool. Like, you can obviously zoom in and have look from like Mario's perspective. And when you move the camera and it can't move, you get that noise. And the amount of times when I'm running it, I'm trying to turn the camera, and it's just like, come on, like, I need to be able to see what I'm doing. And there's so many times in this game when I just cannot see what I'm doing. It is it is honestly, that time of 3D cameras was crap, and there's no defending it. I think anybody defending the camera in this game, I just don't know what you're seeing here. Like, this thing got massively fixed later on. I can't remember how good it is in Sunshine. I'm soon going to find out because I'm playing that. But I remember recently playing a bit of Galaxy 1. Like, I'm like, the camera's a bit more pulled out. It's a bit more, it gives me more, like, it's never perfect. Or it's not always perfect in Galaxy, but it's a lot more consistent. Whereas in 64, it just gets in the way or just refuses to turn. And, like, it makes a lot of platforming challenges. Like, platforming in Mario 64 is just not fun. It's not fun to do it because you're just constantly having to fight with these other variables. And it just, like, this is not what platforming's about. Like, I'm okay with games being difficult. I'm okay with there being difficult challenges. There are plenty of those in like TikTok Clock is a great example of some platform challenges, and I like that. And I like when it works. It's great. But most of the game is just like, I cannot get the camera to go where I need it to be. If you want an example of this, red coins on a Tall Mountain, where you have them on the mushrooms. It's so hard to get the camera to be in the correct place to be able to judge it. I tried it about 10 times and died every time, and I was like, I'm not really feeling this one. So that's obviously a big problem. And my camera, my last complaint, which is not a big issue, and I know some people are gonna be like, oh, skill issue, whatever, is the final Bowser boss fights, or the boss fights in general, chucking at him at these spike balls. I feel sometimes you just get unlucky. Sometimes it's really hard to judge it. But the camera, again, really plays a factor into this boss fight. You're trying to line it up so you can see where the spike ball is, and it will swing the camera too far to the left or too far to the right. I don't enjoy the boss fights. I get what they were going for, but I think, again, at the time, it just doesn't feel right to play on. It's very, very hard to line a lot of this stuff up, and some people are going to just know how to do it. They're going to go, yeah, 1, 2, 3, boom, done. Someone like me that doesn't play this game very often, I find it a struggle. But having said all this, there is, like, I genuinely am being very honest that I will never play this game again. Like, I genuinely do not want to play Mario 64 again. The original, anyway. I would probably dabble in the DS one, because I actually found that the DS one, to me personally, was a bit easier to get through. However, the main reason that I would revisit this game is if it gets a remake, or a proper good remaster that fixes the camera and things like that. The reason why I'd rather have a remake is I think they could go back and make these levels look and fit a lot more into this world without, you know, ruining the original conception of them. So, for example, I think you could go back and do Shifting Sands Land and tweak a few things to make that feel like a more coherent stage. Same with Lethal Lava Land. I think you could add more to that stage in a way to make it feel like everything's connected and like the platforms aren't just random doodads that have been plonked down. I think that's the only way I'm going to come back to this game, because I genuinely do not have fun playing it. And as someone said to me, it's like, why are you playing this if you're not having fun? And I'm like, that is a good question, but, you know, I need to know, was I right the first time? Do I still feel the same way? And the answer is yes. And that I will never play Super Mario 64 ever again without it being remade. And I don't know how likely that'll ever be. But as it stands, this right now, as much as I love the Mario games, Mario 64 is by far my least favorite Mario game to play ever. I get no enjoyment out of it after the first few levels. I find it becomes too much of a mess and too difficult to deal with the camera and the level design, and just questionable decision after questionable decision. Again, if you love this game, I am not bashing on the fact that you love it. Like, good for you. I'm glad that you can enjoy it. I get no enjoyment playing this. This might be the same as Sunshine. I know that I like Sunshine a little bit more. I know that there's also levels in Sunshine that I can't stand. So there's a very good chance that I'm going to play Sunshine. And Sunshine's a bit more of a longer game, and I might not even get through it. And then we'll find out how much I like Galaxy and Galaxy 2 and 3D Land and so on and so forth as we get there. But right now, this is just, in terms of, you know, Nintendo putting out 3D platformers, yes, this was like their early one. This was like the one that people respect and really helped the industry in a lot of ways. But this game has aged terribly, and it really, really needs to, I can't be understated that, like, try to take a look at it from a level design perspective. Like, if you look at that and the camera, those are the big problems that, or if you want, think about giving it to someone who's never played the game before, right? It's okay for like Bob on Battlefield. There's no rule anywhere for them to fall off. I don't think this game is very good for beginners. If I was young, I probably would have struggled with this game. Like, there's so many things to it that just make me go, yeah, this just isn't the game that people talk about. This is a game that has unfortunately aged quite badly, and that's kind of where I land on it. And I never want to touch this game again. Just for the sake of that, I think my time would be better off spent playing other Mario games, or other games in general that I can at least try, newer platformers, things like that. Whereas this one, I'm just like, it had its day back in, you know, in the N64, and I don't think, I don't personally, and again, like, you know, I'm open to discussion about this, I don't understand why people love this game. Like, let's take nostalgia out of it for a minute, because I don't have nostalgia other than the DS version, which I bought when I was younger. I don't understand why people love this game as much as they do. Is it the fact that Mario controls quite nicely in it? Because I can understand that, but the actual level design is rough, and to the point where I'm like, I don't want to play on like half the levels. What, they're 15 levels, and I only want to play like 5 of them. The other 10 I don't enjoy. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting one, but I'm open to discussion on this, and also, like, just give me your opinions on it. Why is it that you like it or don't like it, or whatever it might be? Because I can't be the only person that thinks this game is rough to play now, like, compared to others. Like, there must be people out there that also just like, yeah, nah, not this one. But who knows? Maybe I am in the minority for it, because Super Mario 64 is considered one of the best games of all time by a lot of people. So, but anyway, that is going to do it for me today then, guys. Thank you so much for watching as always. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, then hit subscribe. There's plenty more things coming down the pipeline, plenty more ideas, all that sort of good stuff. And until next video, I will see you then.